y'all, Farmer Dre back at it. Winter's here, and let's talk about the fruit trees. When is the best time of year to prune your apples, your peaches? Is there a difference? Can you prune them all at the same time? Which crop will you start pruning first? So that's what I want to go ahead and dive into today. So being a fruit farmer, and we don't grow fruit on a big scale, we only have about 20 acres of trees here on our farm. That includes apples and peaches. We're mainly a U-pick operation, so we don't have hundreds of acres or thousands of acres of fruit. We get asked a lot of questions by consumers, our customers, people that come out to the farm. We get people that call the farm store all the time and ask us, hey, when do I need to start pruning my fruit trees? What are you guys doing right now? I was listening to a podcast of some row crop farmers, and they were saying that, you know, a lot of times whenever it comes to row crops, corn and beans, they see what their neighbor is doing. They go out and they start, if it's early spring, their neighbor starts planting, they go check their conditions and they start planting as well. But out here in Southwest Missouri, there's not many fruit orchards or fruit farms in general. So we get a lot of people that call the farm store. I talk to a lot of people at farmers market, and they ask me, hey, what are you guys doing in the orchard right now? Are you guys pruning? You guys getting ready to prune? You guys cleaning up? So I wanted to touch base with you guys and kind of share some of the tricks that we use whenever we get ready to start pruning our trees, and what crops we prune first, and go into detail about that. So with all the apples and peaches, we have a few thousand trees here on our farm, and here in the past few years, those numbers started increasing just because we've been planting a lot of high density apples. And that's what I'm standing in here today, is our high density apples. And these apple trees just finished their third season. If you guys followed along, and you guys know that we lost about 70% of our crop of apples this year. So it wasn't ideal, but we had a lot of growth this summer. The trees grew, and we got to control that vigor. And the easiest way to keep your trees intact is by pruning, and long term, of course, is root stocks, and we get into that in a different video. But pruning is very important, and let me show you guys what time of year is best to start pruning. Here in Southwest Missouri, we've already had a few frosts. Our first light frost was probably a month ago, and today is the first week of December, so it's been a few weeks. And generally this time of year, we've already been started pruning. So we usually like to start pruning here on our farm right after Thanksgiving, just because we have so many fruit trees. My brother and myself are the only ones that prune the trees, so just take one step at a time. Just take it slow and do them all. For the farmers who have to prune thousands of acres, they start way ahead and they have multiple guys. But since it's me and my brother who prunes out here, we like to start a little earlier so we can get it all done. One of the biggest indicators to let you know you're ready to start pruning is whenever you look at your block of trees or your fruit trees in your backyard, and you see there's absolutely no more leaves on that tree. That means that tree is going into dormancy. If the leaves have fallen off, it is ready to go. And other varieties, the leaves fall off the trees a lot sooner than others. For example, here behind me, these are Fuji, and there's still quite a few leaves on the trees, but there's not as bad as those pink ladies over there. You guys see the pink ladies there? They still have a ton of leaves on their trees there. So this row of tree here is ready to be pruned, where that one I wouldn't start pruning yet. So on this variety here, there's a lot of leaves, and this just shows that this variety here, pink lady, takes a little longer time to go into dormancy. So I wouldn't prune these until a majority of the leaves fall off. And here in a couple weeks, we got another more cold nights, all these leaves will fall off. But these, compared to the Fujis here, the Fujis have absolutely no leaves on them. That's one of the most obvious indicator, is whenever there is no leaves on the trees, that just means the tree is ready to go. And then we get into detail about a temperature, and generally whenever you have average low temperatures into the freezing, whenever it's below 32 degrees or freezing, that means the trees have went dormant and they're acclimated to the cold, so they are ready for you to go through and prune the trees. One of the things you got to be careful and watch out for is you don't want to start pruning your trees too early, just because if you do make a wound into the tree, you can actually cause more damage, just because whenever you cut that tree open, disease and you got a fungal disease or a bacterial disease can enter into the tree, and then long term that will cause more damage to the tree. So let's say you want to prune your trees a lot sooner and a lot earlier, you can. I know we summer prune our peaches, but during that time of year, whenever we are summer pruning our peaches, we go through the orchard and just periodically spray fungicides or insecticides to keep the insects off the fruit trees. And some of those fungicides actually protects the fungus and disease to get inside the wood. But this time of year, we're not out in the orchard spraying. We haven't sprayed for a while, so there might be a disease or insect pressure that you still might have in the orchard, and you open that wound up into the tree, damage long term, other than you just waiting it out. So I'm out here in the older, mature orchard, and one of those things I've learned over the years and experience, that these older and more mature trees, they do drop their leaves a lot sooner than the younger trees, and this is just because of age. The trees have experienced a few seasons of their lives. These trees here are about 20 years old, and whenever it gets cold and whenever you get done harvesting the fruit, the trees themselves start slowing down because they understand all the process. But a young tree, like you guys just saw there, they're trying to grow as much as possible. They're trying to put as much vigor out as possible. So whenever you do get that cold frost, then it shuts down the tree. When these older mature trees, they've already started that process just because they've experienced the summers before, and they understand and know the fluctuation in temperature here in Missouri. So yeah, these trees here, these older mature trees, we could have started pruning maybe a couple weeks ago because all the leaves have been gone off these, and there's very few, so these trees are dormant. They're ready to be worked on. So that's one of the biggest things I've learned over the years is older mature trees go in dormancy a lot faster than young trees. Out here in the peach orchard, and with peaches here on our farm, this is one of the last crops we do prune, just because here in Southwest Missouri in the last few years, we've been getting a lot of cold days in January and February, and with peaches, they're very sensitive to the cold. So if you get below -7, you can potentially lose your entire peach crop. So let's say you do prune your trees early with peaches, then you get a cold event and you've already taken off half of your limbs, then half your production is gone and you've done more harm. But we wait until after that time, about early March, to prune our peaches, just because if we did have a cold event, then we know how much of the leaf branches to leave on, if it's going to be a lighter crop, if it's going to be a heavy crop. And unfortunately this year here on our farm, we didn't have a crop this year, so our peaches grew like crazy. This peach tree right here is 2 years old. It's almost 10 foot tall here, and this is what you want to see out of a young peach tree. But if we have another year where we don't have a crop, this tree is going to be 14, 15 foot tall. So if you actually crop your peaches, then they actually stop growing as vigorously. And with peaches, what's very interesting, you could already see the fruiting buds from here. So wherever you see 3 buds right next to each other, that is a fruiting bud right there. And if you just see one, that is just a fruit, just a leaf bud. So let's say we have some cold spells come through here and cold events. It gets cold, we come through here, we measure out the buds, we cut the buds, then we see exactly how many buds we still have alive versus how many are dead. And we can kind of come through here and see, okay, if 50% of all the buds are dead, I'm not going to prune as vigorously in a peach tree compared to what I would do if there was a full crop of peaches. So that's one of those things you got to keep in mind. And with peaches, like I mentioned, it's one of the last crops we do prune here on our farm, just because we've experienced so many years of lost peach crops, is that we've learned that we might as well just wait it out, and then you will see how many buds you have alive early spring, and then just go ahead and prune them then. If you're in a region or area where you have a great crop of peaches every year, I know down in southeast Missouri, there's a big farmer that we keep in touch with, and they have close to 1,000 acres of peaches, and they start pruning right after Thanksgiving. They go out there with their crews. They got 20 or 30 guys, and they go ham every single day because they cannot wait like us, just because they have so many acres to prune and so many hundreds of thousands of trees to prune, that if they wait, they'll never get it done. So that's one of those deals that if you only have a few trees like us, we have probably 7 acres of peaches, we could come through here maybe a week and a half and get these pruned quick if we get the entire crew out here, than trying to do it all early winter, and then it bites in the butt later on. These peaches are fairly easy to prune. I could already come through here with the loppers real quick and prune a tree in in a few minutes here. It doesn't take too long. And even our older mature trees, you know, if I would come through here, I would chop these up. So we like to keep our peaches fairly low to the ground, so we want to keep them, you know, where we can reach them. If not, we'll come out here with the hydraulic ladder, but maybe max, maybe 10, 12, 15 foot tall. 15 is too much. Probably 12 foot tall is max. We want to have our peaches, and that's it, so we can reach them, so we can pick them. But in here, it's pretty messy because, like I said, we didn't have a crop this year, so these trees grew very, 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 very vigorously, and they just have a lot of growth on them. Alright, y'all, this is gonna be it for today. Just a quick little short video for you guys explaining one of the best time of year to prune your fruit trees. And this is gonna be it for today. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and check out FarmerDreSupply.com. Link will be in the description box below. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. Don't forget to hit that notification icon so you guys can be notified whenever I do upload a video. I want to say thanks for watching up to this point. Y'all have a good day, and we will see you next time.